Do you ever wonder why the men you never pay attention to are the most obsessed with you, but the ones you actually like don't even look in your direction? Isn't it weird how the men you treat the worst end up treating you the best? There's a very strange truth hidden underneath the surface that you probably didn't even realize, which is why on today's show, we're going to be discussing why ignoring men makes you irresistible to them. That way, even when you come across the highest of high value men, you'll be able to make him desperate to make you his wife. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. You see me seeing you, seeing me seeing you. Okay, welcome to all you beautiful people. I see we got Missy America here holding down our YouTube chat, the champion. We got Being here, we got Natalie, we got Thado. I wanted to say thank you especially to Anitra. She was the first one here in the chat today, and she donated as soon as she got in the chat. She was here at like 3:45. Okay, so we got to give a round of applause to Anitra donating and here early. That is a special one. I have to acknowledge you. You're a special one today. Okay, you're an A+++++ student with golden stars, extra stars. Special K's here. Tracy's here as well in the YouTube chat. Who we got over in the TikTok chat? We got Amal here. I see Magdalena. I see Christina. I see Denise. I seen Sharice earlier. I seen SH, of course. SH and Sharice holding down oh my gosh, holding down our beautiful TikTok chat. Thank you so much. Oh, we got Sammy, one of our TikTok subscribers here, and she's been actively participating. She's been here all the time. Okay, welcome all you beautiful people. Let's get started and we'll discuss along the way. Okay, so I want to start us off with a little story time. This story is going to encapsulate everything we're going to discuss, and I want you guys to put your hard hats on, be paying attention here. Okay, I know everyone's just walking into class, but I want us to be listening from the very beginning because I'm going to start asking you questions, and I want your hands ready to type away because I want you responding to me when I ask you these questions and I tell this story. Okay, so I want you to imagine there's two scenarios, okay? Let's say we meet out at an event, and there's two different versions of us meeting at this event, okay? So as someone says I have test anxiety, don't worry, okay? Just pay attention, follow along, you'll be fine. And there's two different variations of us meeting at this event. The first variation, you walk into the event and you see a bunch of people and you see me, you recognize me, you're like, oh my God, you're my favorite YouTuber. I watch you on stream all the time. You're so awesome. I love your show. And you come up to me and you say hello and you introduce yourself, and I say hello and I introduce myself to you and I smile and everything's good and it's good and we have a conversation back and forth. That is scenario number one. Now, I want you to imagine scenario number two, okay? Don't worry, we're going somewhere and it's related to relationships. Scenario number two, you walk into the same event, you see me, you're like, oh my God, that's my favorite YouTuber. I love you so much. Oh my God, I want to go up and say hi to you. I want to have a conversation with you. So you come up to me to have a conversation with me, and as soon as you reach your hand out to introduce yourself, this is my response to you, okay? This is actually me. I go like this. Oh. Oh my God. Please. And that's my response to you. Okay? That's scenario number two. Now, I want to ask you a question. This is where I want you to participate, okay? Of those two scenarios, which one do you think you would spend more time thinking about after it happened? Do you think you would spend more time thinking about scenario number one, where you introduced yourself to me and I said hi and we had a conversation, or scenario number two, in which I responded that way? That was my response to you when you stuck your hand out to introduce yourself to me, and I have like snot coming out of my nose, and I responded to you that way. Okay, I want everyone to participate because this is very important to everything else we're going to discuss. Trust me, it's related to what we're discussing. Okay, I see a lot of people saying scenario number two. I see one person say scenario number one. Okay, Sweet Tracy says number two. Black Bow says number two. Heba says number two. Anisha says number two. Sammy says, honestly, I'd spend the same amount of time thinking of each. Okay, fair. Jocelyn says number two. Someone says both. Okay, so obviously, clearly, a lot of people are saying you probably spend more time thinking about scenario number two. Okay. Now that's not unnatural. It's probably natural for most of us to be thinking, damn, why did he respond like that? It kind of seemed like he was repulsed by me. Do I smell? Do I offend? Was my BO? Did I not put on enough BO? Was it my breath? What was it? Right. And see, here is the connection between that whole story and analogy and what we're going to be discussing today. Right. Because part of what makes you irresistible when you begin ignoring men is the fact that you trigger insecurities in them. Okay. And this is where we're going to hop right into number one, right? Is that you're triggering insecurities in him because of the fact that you're ignoring him, not paying him any mind, not paying him any attention. And the fact that you're not paying him any mind or attention is actually making him actually think and focus on, hey, why does she not pay me any mind or attention? The same way in my example of the story that I gave you, in scenario number 2, you probably spend a lot more time thinking about that scenario because you're thinking, what was it about me that offended you? What was it about me that made you give this negative response to me as if I was repulsive, as if I was disgusting, right? And amazingly, even though I'm the same person, even though we still interacted with each other, the interaction that stays with you the most is the negative interaction, or the one that makes you feel insecure about yourself. Notice, at least for a majority of people, the interaction that would stay with you the longest wasn't the interaction that made you feel insecure. The interaction that made you feel secure and fine, it's like, cool, it's an interaction, and then you move on from it. But the interaction that made you feel a little bit insecure about yourself is the interaction that you actually thought to yourself, oh my God, I just messed this up. Did I come in here without deodorant? Did I forget to put deodorant on? Oh my God, I probably smell like crap right now. I need to go back home. I'm so disgusting. Like, what's wrong with me? How could I embarrass myself like that? Did I brush my teeth? I can't believe I allowed my breath to smell that nasty when I was talking to my favorite YouTuber, right? And all the things that will play through your mind, right? Triggered by your insecurity that I've triggered in you with my response to you. Okay. Now I say all that to say the same thing can happen for you, with you, and the guys that you like and you actually want to be chasing after you and pursuing you. I know it sounds very toxic, but when you ignore men, the same thing happens. That insecurity gets triggered because they start thinking to themselves, is she ignoring me because I'm not good enough? Is she ignoring me because I don't live up to the standards of all the other guys that like her and all the other guys that are pursuing her, right? Am I not the best? Am I not better than any of these other men? And as soon as that insecurity gets triggered, what can he not think of? All of a sudden, he can't think of other girls. All of a sudden, he can't think of anything else except for you and why you don't seem to like him as much as you thought he thinks that you should like him, right? And I'm sure when you probably think about this yourself, I seen Layla says, wow, I'm living this situation right now. Some of you are living this in the opposite sense, where a guy ignoring you is triggering that insecurity in you. And even more than you like the guy, you're thinking about why I feel insecure that you don't like me. So I'm trying to figure out why you don't like me, or I'm trying to figure out what I must do to get you to like me. And the crazy part about it is guys have been using this because some of you might be like, oh, well, this is super manipulative. This is super this is a really toxic. But the craziest part about it is, for a lot of you, guys have been using this trick and method on you to get you chasing after them and to get you interested in them when they don't even really have anything to offer. It's the same reason why some of you find yourself in a situation where you're desperately chasing after and pursuing a man that's literally doing nothing for you. And your friends sit there and ask you, they're like, what is he actually doing for you? He doesn't D you down. Okay. He's got a small PP, so he's not doing that. He doesn't take care of you financially. So what's the point? He's not rich. Okay. He's got nothing going for himself. He's a bum. He walks around, he's got nut stains on his pants, and you're obsessing and chasing after that guy. Your friends are asking you, what is he offering you? And you have nothing to say, right? But it's the same guy ignoring you, and you're chasing after him, not even because you actually like the guy, but simply because you're chasing after that approval. And we'll get to the approval and the validation in a second, right? So you see how powerful that can be, where the quality of you, not that your quality is bad, but the quality of you as a person doesn't even have to, you don't have to be Angelina Jolie. Okay, you don't have to be Janet Jackson. I don't know why I said Janet Jackson. You don't have to be Kim Kardashian. You don't have to be Rihanna. You don't have to be none of that, right? You can still be you, be authentic to you. But you see how when you trigger these particular insecurities in guys by ignoring them, now all of a sudden he's thinking of, whoa, why are you ignoring me? Why am I not good enough for you? What must I do more in order to get you to like me? And they start chasing after that approval, the same way you've been. Okay, you want to turn guys into pick-meshas, like Shira would say. Okay, for those of you who know who Shira is, right? You want to turn guys into pick-meshas where they're begging, please pick me. Please, I want to be the guy that you chose. Please, I want to be the guy that you choose to be your man out of all these other guys who are chasing after you. Listen to me. I'm telling you, you can get that. Even if you don't have the biggest dump truck and even if you don't have the most voluptuous yitties, even if you're a board. Okay, you got no shape to you. Doesn't matter. You can still get this out of men. Are you following me so far? Right? Right? Does that make sense? Okay. So insecurity is one of the main reasons why this is so important and how you can utilize this to your advantage and why ignoring men will become so powerful. Okay. Does that make sense to you guys? So Layla says, this is my life right now, right? N says, what about if you already made a fool of yourself? Well, we'll talk about that. I've talked about that in a past show before on how to gain your power back. But it's possible, but it's not very likely, especially for those of you who have been putting yourself in a situation where you set the bar very low. Okay. But still, this information is very important for you to listen to so you can understand where you went wrong and how to adjust that for the future. Some of you are only thinking about how to adjust that with this guy right now. Some of you need to realize that this guy right now is not going to work out with. Okay. I'm going to tell you the truth. So, insecurity is number one. Okay. Technically number two, but the first one was a story. Okay. So number one. Now, number two, let's discuss validation. Okay. Now, I need you to understand that when you are with a guy and you ignore this man, right? You're not texting him. You're not calling him. You're barely picking up the phone. The only time he can get access to you is when he schedules a date with you. And even scheduling a date with you takes, a week in advance. So it's a lot of work just for him to be able to see you. Okay. You're basically ignoring him every other time except for that. When you ignore a guy to that level, and even just in general, what's going to happen is his interest in you is, first of all, it's going to grow. And he's going to begin seeking after your validation. Because remember, I just mentioned to you before in my same example where I talked about if I were to act as if you were repulsive and if you smelled and I was gagging and I was coughing when you came around as if I couldn't even bear the smell or the scent of you. And that triggers your insecurity. Like, oh my God, do I offend you? Like, is my BO that strong and am I that disgusting? Right? The same way that triggers your insecurity, when you ignore guys, it triggers their insecurity. And then because their insecurity is triggered, what do they immediately start doing? They start thinking about how they can get your approval. Right? The same way, if you were to see me a second time after our first meeting where I was like, oh my God, you stink, you smell, I can't stand the scent of you, right? The next time we meet, and if you know we're going to meet or you know you're going to see me, you're going to make sure to put on extra deodorant this time. You're going to be rubbing it down. You're going to be spraying all the different, you're going to be spraying your Chanel. You're going to be spraying your this cologne, your that perfume. You're going to be taking 3, 4, 5, 6 showers because you know by the time you meet me, I got a strong nose and you don't want the BO to be an issue. Once again, you're going to brush your teeth 10 times, right? And I'm not saying that because, like you're a bad person, but I just want you to understand when you become insecure about a situation, especially about how a person feels towards you, then you start immediately thinking of how you can gain their approval so that you no longer are insecure about how that person feels towards you. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the same thing applies for the men that you're ignoring. As soon as you begin ignoring him, now his brain starts working on how can I receive validation from you? Because all I felt is the insecurity that you don't like me, that you're not interested in me, that other guys are more fascinating and better than me, which is why you ignore me and you're probably going on dates with those other guys. So I want to figure out, how can I gain your validation by doing more? Do I have to do backflips? Do I got to do front flips? Do I got to take you out on $1,000 date? Do I got to spend more money on you? Do I got to get you more gifts? And see, the reason that this all works out in your favor is because now you have a guy thinking of, how can I do the absolute most to be seen and appreciated by her, that she'll like me, she'll want to be with me, and she'll do what? She'll pick me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? And this is how you become an addiction and you become so irresistible, because not only is he chasing after you in terms of getting access to you, but he's chasing after you in terms of trying to gain your approval. Okay? You're kind of like his dad, as weird as that sounds, right? You're like his father figure that he's trying to gain your approval. And if you say, okay, yeah, you did a good job, now he feels all happy, right? It's a good place it's the exact place that you want to put yourself in, where you're standing here like Wonder Woman and he's on his hands and knees asking what he needs to do to make you happy. Because then you have him wrapped around your finger and all you have to do is say, I was thinking today, I kind of only like men who will buy me flowers. And before you can even finish saying it, he's at your door with flowers. Why? Because he wants to be the man that you want. That's all he can think about. He wants to be the man that you approve of. He wants to be the best man that you'll pick. Do you understand? And do you understand how that can be such a powerful position for you to be in, and why vice versa, for most of you who have been struggling with this, you've been in that position yourself? Because much like I said at the very beginning, it's not necessarily, because I know for some of you, for some of you, you have crazy huge bulba heads, a massive 5 head, and maybe you're not that attractive. But for majority of you in this chat, you are attractive women who is capable of attracting men, lots of men. Okay, so it's not the fact that you have been struggling in your relationships is not really because you're unattractive. It's more because when you really like a guy, your approach drastically changes, and then the response that you get from that man drastically changes as well. And the guys that you don't like, that you don't pay any mind to, those are the guys that you're ignoring. But those are the fact that you're ignoring him is triggering all these things that we're talking about here, and is forcing him to chase after you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, right? Does that make sense to you guys so far? Sook says, I'm just gonna call you Sook. She says, does this work for a long-term friendship relationship? It does. And here's the thing. You can even start ignoring the guy that you're in a long-term relationship with. Now, let me be very clear. You're going to do that very differently than how I might be discussing here. You have to figure out how this applies directly to you and your situation, because I'm not advising you that you should go on an ignoring spree with your 3-year boyfriend. That's going to be very strange, and that's a little bit unfair, okay? I'm not advising you to be that toxic, okay? And you need to understand how to balance this. So in your case, if you're in a long-term relationship, instead of ignoring, you probably replace it to pulling back the texting, pulling back the phone calls, pulling back the reaching out, and allowing him to reach out to you when he's ready to see you and talk to you, type of thing. Okay, so obviously you're not going to ignore your boyfriend of 3 years. But for the people who are in the dating stages and meeting new guys and growing these relationships, you should be 100% ignoring him. The only time you show him attention is when he's in person with you, in real life, sitting in front of you in 3-dimensional space. That's the only time you give him all of your attention, all of your laughter, your bubbly personality. You let him get to know each other, right? You ask him questions and you make him feel good about being out and spending time with you. That's the only time you worry about him feeling good about the situation in your relationship. Every other time, essentially, you should be ignoring him, and the phone should only be getting used as a scheduling tool, like I always tell you. Okay, I always tell you guys, you need to be using the phone as a scheduling tool. So when I'm talking about, let me be clear too. I know I talked about insecurity. I know I talked about validation, but I really want you to be understanding when I say ignore him, when I look in my eyes, when I say ignore him, I mean ignore him. This is not for those of you who have a weak stomach, because some of you have weak stomachs and you can't bear the idea of a guy that you like texting you and you don't text him back within 3.5 seconds. Get rid of that virus. Get rid of it. You're not going to attract the guys that you like if you text him back in 3.5 seconds and you're sitting around waiting for paint to dry, hoping that he'll text you back all day. When you're ignoring him, no matter how much he calls, no matter how much he texts you, no matter how much he does anything to reach out to you and try to talk to you more, you keep it at a bare minimum. You keep his access to you at a bare minimum, especially over the phone for you addicts. Because some of you are addicts. Can't help yourself when it comes to the cell phone. Put it down. If you really like the guy, you put the cell phone down. Because you're more than likely going to want to text him and talk to him 25/8. You're going to want to text him and talk to him. Okay? And it's going to ruin everything that you're trying to accomplish by ignoring him and becoming irresistible to him. Notice I didn't say don't answer his message for an hour and then spam him with messages after. Notice I didn't say don't talk to him for a couple of days and then beg for his attention after that. I said ignore him. Just period. Just ignore him. Period. Okay? And why ignoring him will make you irresistible. So this has to be an ongoing process where, yes, I know ignoring sounds extreme, but I want that to stick in your head so that you can understand you're pulling all the way back so that he can step all the way forward. I never want you guys to forget or lose sight of the reality that as soon as you're up in a guy's face, seeing him 24/7, being around all the time, sleeping over, all the things that we talk about on this show that you should not be doing. As soon as you do all of that, the only thought he can have in his head after that, after he sees you 24/7, all he can think to himself is, I would like to see and speak to you less. Even if he likes you, even if he likes spending that time with you, there's no thought of I would like to see her more if he already sees you the more. There's no thought of I would like to speak to you more if he already speaks to you the more. The only thought he can have when he already speaks to you the more and sees you the more is, you know, she's cool and awesome, but I'd like a couple just days to myself. Just a couple. And as soon as a man that you like starts thinking like that, starts thinking like, oh, maybe I'd like to have a couple days to myself and not speak to her every single day, you've lost. Because it's only going to go downhill from there. Because the more he thinks to himself, maybe I'd like to see her a little bit less, that's the moment your anxiety is going to start triggering, your insecurity is going to start triggering, you're going to start searching for validation. And what are you going to do? You're going to start pushing forward. You're going to start begging for his attention. You're going to start begging for him to notice you and want to be interested in you and want to take you out and want to spend more time with you. And all that's going to do is push him back further and repulse him even more, where he says, oh, I already didn't want to spend time with you, but now that you're pushing even more, I even want to spend even less time with you. Okay? So when I say why ignoring men makes you irresistible to them, I want you to understand like how you should be doing the ignoring. Okay? So you stay off that damn cell phone. This is I can never stop talking to you all about this topic because it's literally an addiction for you. It's a virus. And crazy enough, the virus is only hurting you. It doesn't hurt the guys, to be honest. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the guys to pursue you. That's your goal here. So it really only hurts you and his pursuit of you when you're constantly available over this. You understand what I'm saying? The power of ignoring men comes when you understand when you do nothing, that's when the guys push towards you. That is the power of ignoring men. You don't ever see, this is the thing. Okay, and this is still on topic to what we're discussing. You don't ever want to put yourself in a position where you need to yell and scream at a guy in order to get his attention or in order to get him to act the right way or the way you want him to be acting towards you in the relationship. You always want to put yourself in a position where all you have to do to get what you want out of that guy is take a step back and withdraw yourself from the relationship. And the threat that you might walk away is what will motivate him to say, whoa, 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 whoa. I actually like you. I'm invested in you. I don't want you to walk away from me and this relationship. Can you please tell me what I must do or what I must adjust in order to continue having access to you that you're not withdrawn from me? And then all you have to do is say, well, you know, honestly, I like guys who will actually be consistent with me. And if that's not you, it's perfectly fine with me. I don't need it to be you, but I'm only interested in guys who are going to be consistent. So then he's thinking, wait, you wanted consistent. Let's go out next week. Can we go out the week after? Let's plan the next month, right? And when guys come to you like that because they're worried that you've withdrawn and they want to figure out how to fix things, that's when you get what you want. Am I making sense to you guys? Okay, right? So insecurity, number one, right? Validation and why validation will become so important, right? Because when he's seeking validation, he's going to start acting on that seeking of validation and the fact that he wants that validation from you. And then he's going to start trying to figure out, see, this is the amazing part, actually. I need to mention this. This is the amazing part. When a guy that you like or that's interested in you is seeking your validation, his mind's going to be working on what he can do to earn that validation. So he's not going to be thinking of what words I can say. He's going to be thinking of what actions can I do to gain that validation. Okay, it's funny how that works. It's crazy. All the cobwebs in a man's mind of, you know, that he didn't seem to understand how to actually go about this and take action and do the right thing. All of a sudden, those parts of his brains are going to start working. Those parts of his brain is going to start working, right? Because now he's thinking about what must I do in order to get validation? What's going to work here in order to solve my problem? Because I hate feeling insecure that she ignores me and doesn't want to spend time with me, but I really do like this girl and I really am interested in this girl. I need to do something to earn some sort of validation. Are you following me? Right? Does that make sense? Oh, hey, Carissa says, they do the same to us. Exactly. They do the same to you, which is why I'm breaking this method down so you can figure out why it works on you so that you can be using it on the guys that you actually like. Because like I said, it's really about the fact that for most of you, when you like a guy, your approach literally takes a 180 flip. And now because your approach drastically changes, you get a different response from men. And the men put you in a lot of these situations where you're chasing after their approval, you're chasing after them, you're seeking validation from them. And so what happens? They get what they want from you and they have you wrapped around their finger. So I'm helping you figure out why that's happening so you can reverse that. And even on the guys you do like, you can have those guys obsessed with you still. Okay? Does that make sense? So the insecurity was number one and the validation number two. And number three is the ego boost. Now, I want us to be very clear in our understanding. When you make a guy feel insecure by ignoring him, right? It hurts his ego. So subsequently, if his ego is hurt through you and he needs you to validate him, if you do validate him by agreeing to go out on a date with him or agreeing to spend some time with him, it becomes an ego boost. See, when you attach yourself to a man's ego and you are the reason that he is able to validate himself, you're also the reason that he'll feel insecure about himself. That's a very powerful place to be. Very powerful. I know we're talking about advanced stuff here, but I just need you to wrap your mind around this. When you can use your value as a woman and the things that you bring to the table and the fact that you're super desirable and everyone wants you and you're very scarce, and you can bring all that to the table and you can use that as a way to entice him to say, if you get me, then that means you're the man. If you don't have access to me, then you're one of these peasants just like everyone else. You're attaching yourself to his ego now, because now he feels like if I get you, then I'm the king of the kingdom. I'm the king of the land. I'm the most powerful, amazing man in all the land. But if I don't have you, that speaks to the fact that I'm not as good and as powerful and amazing as I thought I once was. But that's a good thing, because now what happens? He has a lot of fear if he doesn't get you. I tell you guys all the time, what you should be seeking for is not love and adoration. Sounds good in a movie and it sounds good in a Wattpad story. What you actually should be seeking for, if you want the men in your life to act right and treat you right, is respect and fear. All the time. Those are the only two things you really need to be seeking, because respect and fear will have the men that you actually want to build a relationship with. It will have them acting right. Okay? Respect and fear. When you attach yourself to a man's ego and you make him feel like what you bring to the table as a woman and all you have to offer as a woman and the fact that you're so scarce, right? You're not readily available to him or anyone else. And you put your foot down and you demand respect and you're not willing to deal with any BS, then those men say to themselves, they say, okay, I get access to you. That must mean I'm the man. That must mean I accomplished all the challenges that all these other peasant men couldn't possibly accomplish. I must be the king of the kingdom. I step on all those peasant men with my foot. They can't even shine my shoes. Right? And you attach yourself to his ego indirectly. So if you withdraw yourself when you're attaching yourself to his ego and you're what makes him feel like he's the most mightiest man in the kingdom, right? Then the threat of you walking away from him makes him feel like, oh my God, there goes my ability to validate myself. Are you staying with me? That is very powerful because you now control. I know this sounds like super crazy manipulation, but you now control his self-image of himself through you. The vessel is you, and the access to you now becomes a mirror to himself of how capable or amazing he is or how worthless and useless he is. If he gets access to you, then that means he's amazing and awesome and strong and mighty and amazing. Awesome. I said that multiple times. But if he doesn't get access to you, then that means he's weak, he's useless, he's the worst. He's just like all the other peasant men. So like I said earlier, right? When you ignore men, it puts you in a great position and it makes you irresistible. Now he needs to have you. He must have you in his life in order to validate himself. It's not an option, because if you walk out the door, so does his ability to validate himself. Walks out that door as well. So once again, what the motivation of taking action, the motivation of actually going forward and doing the thing, or making sure he treats you the right way, or making sure he treats this relationship with respect, or making sure he doesn't mess up or go out and act a fool, comes from not the fact that he loves and adores you so much, but it really and truthfully comes from the fear that he feels that if he were to do the wrong thing, he would instantly lose out on you and then instantly lose out on his ability to validate himself through you and his access to you. You following me so far? Okay. Does that make sense? Right? Go says, so what about narcissists? Because I lost the battle. Okay. This is how I never want you guys to forget. The advice that I give you is not to help you attract narcissists. Okay. I don't know. I get that question a lot from you guys. Okay. Because you guys be asking me, okay, but this doesn't work on narcissists, or this doesn't work on insecure men, or this doesn't work on men with no confidence. Yeah, I apologize. I'm not trying to help you attract a narcissist or a super insecure man or a man with absolutely no self-worth or confidence or a microwave man. Okay. You should know what a microwave, if you're new here, maybe you don't know what a microwave man is, but a microwave man is essentially just a man who wants everything quick, easy, and painless. And he wants access to your Squirtle quick, easy, and painless, right? Those are the type of men that you'll find on dating apps a lot. But I'm not trying to help you attract those men. So for those of you who are like, but this don't work on narcissists, what should we do with the narcissist? You should not date a narcissist. What are we doing here? Where has your mind gone? But this doesn't work on men who are super insecure and have no self-worth. Yeah, I don't, you shouldn't be dating men who are super insecure and have no self-worth. That just, maybe I'm confused. I don't know. Okay. So just keep that in mind when we're discussing this type of stuff, right? So I talked about, right, the insecurity and the validation that people feel, right? Insecurity was number one, and the validation was number 2, right? The ego boost that men will feel by being with you, and why that's so important, because that ego boost is attached to you now and you become a vessel. And then now if he doesn't have you, then it's gone. Okay. Now, number 5, I want to talk about the initiative cycle. This is very, very, very important. Okay. The initiative cycle that I'm referring to is the fact that when you begin ignoring a man, you need to understand that something very, very powerful happens that you probably never expected. See, the thing is, you've been used to in your relationships and in your talking stages, when you want something from a man, you beg and you plead for this thing to happen. I really want you all to be paying attention to this. So stop pooping if you're pooping. Okay. You've been so accustomed to when you need or really want a man to do something for you, or you really want him to change his behavior, or you really want him to make an adjustment, that you beg him, please do this, please do that. I'm begging you. Why can't you do it? Why can't you do it? Why can't you do it? Right? Only for him to just continue on doing the same thing. When you finally take the initiative, when you finally put your foot down and you just ignore the man, just ignore him, something really amazing is going to happen. The cobwebs in his brain that would naturally be of the function that would allow him to, use his brain power to start thinking of, oh, let me analyze, okay, clearly my partner or this person is upset. Let me think to the way I've treated them, think to the things I've said, think to the things I've done, why that person might be upset. Oh, I can identify I made them upset by doing this or doing that, or it's probably this or probably that. So then their mind starts thinking of, what are some of the things I can do, some of the actions I can take to make that person feel at ease, to show that my remorse, or to solve this situation, or to resolve this conflict. And slowly but surely, the cobwebs start moving, right? And the train starts going in a direction where he starts thinking about how he can take initiative, how he can take action, right? Even if it's not making an adjustment to apologize for something, just in general to gain that validation from you, just in general to gain the ego boost from being with you, or to alleviate that insecurity he feels by the fact that you're ignoring him, right? He wants you to see him. He wants you to pick him. He wants you to notice him. And so because of that, his brain starts thinking of, okay, what must I do in order to accomplish my goal of getting access to her? What must I do in order to accomplish my goal that she wants to be with me as much as I want to be with her? What are the actions I must take? What are the ways I must go about this? Maybe I have to ask her out on more in-person dates instead of just being a pen pal. Maybe I've got to treat her with a little bit more respect when I speak to her. Maybe I've got to be a little bit more consistent instead of just popping up once a month when I feel like I need her. And the man's brain will actually start moving, and you'll be surprised how he'll come to you with solutions to problems and adjustments, and how he's going to make a change on something without you even having to ask him to make that change. There's an initiative cycle that takes place in a man's mind when you can actually just take a step back and let him think to himself what must be done. And the thing about it is, it's an even more powerful way, way more powerful, to get what you want out of a relationship or a situationship or whatever thing, right? Whatever you want out of the man, because he feels like whatever decision he came to, whatever choice he made, it was of his own volition, and it was his own choice to make that choice, to make that decision. And he came to you having already known this is the best course of action. And I've decided that because I know that I want to be with you. I want to have this relationship with you. I want to make this work with you. So I've came up with some solutions to this problem. I've came up with some ways to resolve this conflict. I've came up with some ways to get you interested in me, or to be the man that you want me to be. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Amber says if you have to play games with him to make him respect you, it's toxic. Well, I mean, sure. But then my question becomes, do you think everyone in the world should just respect you for your mere existence? I wish that was the case, but unfortunately, in the world we live in, the only people that get respect are the people that demand it. And the people that don't demand respect usually don't get it. In fact, the people that don't demand respect usually end up getting walked all over. So even in terms of gaining your respect, there is a strategy in order to do that. Now, you might disagree with that, which is perfectly fine. I'd advise you to continue going about your life how you've been going about it. Don't demand respect from anyone, and let's see if you get that respect. Okay, right? So very important, right? The initiative cycle can be very, very important in terms of making you irresistible to him. Because listen, now once he's taking that initiative cycle, once he's got those wheels moving in a direction where he understands, hey, I want you, I want access to you, I like spending time with you, I want more access to you. And he's taking that initiative cycle to think of how he can do those things, how he can put himself in the best position to get more access to you, right? Now you have yourself in a place where you're sitting back, you're relaxing, you're chilling, you're observing. He's coming on to you. He's pressing you. He's trying to impress you by doing his front flips and his back flips and his side flips and all types of flips to show you that he's the man for you. This becomes a very addicting cycle, okay? Right, which will lead me right into the next one, okay? So we talked about insecurity, the validation, the ego boost, the initiative cycle. Now let's talk about the addiction cycle, okay? There's an addicting element to having someone that you seek validation from give you just a little tiny bit of validation. And when they give you that little tiny bit of validation, you feel like you're in this euphoric state where you feel like you have been validated, okay? Right, by that person. And you become addicted to the external validation that they make you feel, which is why you end up turning into a pick-me-sha. A pick-me-sha is just like a small little mouse that feeds on validation. That's what I want you to have in your mind, okay? When you think of pick-me-sha, that is a small little mouse, right? That's you, okay? You're a small little mouse with a small little mouse mouth, and you feed on validation from men. We want to flip that script. So we want to turn him, the guy that you're dating or talking to, into a small little mouse that feeds on your validation. And you only give him just enough validation. You sprinkle it on his nose. You give him just enough validation to keep him still hungry, but never satisfied. Okay? Right? And this becomes an addiction cycle because the men start thinking to themselves, I really need this validation from you. I really need you to prove to me that I shouldn't be insecure about myself and that you're not ignoring me because I'm not the best man for you, or you're not ignoring me because I'm not as good as all the other men, or I don't bring as much value as all the other men, right? I need to prove that to myself. And the only way I can prove that to myself is by being able to get access to you, is by being able to date you, is by being able to court you or go out with you and spend time with you like no other guy would ever be able to get access to you. And when you finally do agree to a date, even if you allow him to only go on one date with you and he has to plan 2 weeks in advance to go on this date with you, that becomes self-validating, right? That becomes an ego boost. That becomes all the things that we just talked about. And now he becomes addicted to the cycle of, oh, okay, so I want to get validation from her. Right? I want to get access to her. So if I go through taking the initiative of doing the thing or doing this particular thing or taking this particular action, I'm going to get access to her. If I get access to her, well, then I'm going to feel good about myself. If I feel good about myself, well, then that feels good. And I want to continue feeling good about myself. So I'm going to continue taking actions towards validating myself. See, this is where the intersection comes in, where when you become like a master manipulator, you understand how to get people to do things that feels authentic to them because it also serves them in particular ways. This sounds very, 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 very strange. Okay. But, oh, shoot. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much to the pertinent who donates 70 ZAR. I don't know what ZAR is, but thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Okay. I'm not sure what can someone tell me what currency ZAR is? I don't know what currency ZAR is, but thank you so much in the YouTube chat to someone who just, to the pertinent who just donated 70 ZAR. She says, Tomisin, I have a guy friend that negs me, is critical towards me and makes fun of me a lot. Sometimes his insults are disguised as jokes. He does not treat our mutual friend like this. Help. I mean, do you like this guy? This is why I always tell you guys, don't be in situationships. Don't be in situations where you're in a friendship with a guy that you actively want to be romantic with. Because what's the point? If he truly only sees you as a friend, then what purpose are you serving other than maybe like an ego boost to him? And it sounds like that's the situation that you're in. Someone says, how do we donate? You can donate. If you're on TikTok, you can donate by sending in, I think it's a gift, like a rose or a hat. There's a whole bunch of different gifts. Someone just donated one. Rosemary just donated one. It was a cap. She just donated one. So thank you very much. That's how, and if you're on YouTube, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's like a super chat, it's called. Okay. So yes, the pertinent, if you're in a situation like that, then you definitely need to identify, wait, is this actually a friendship or do I feel feelings towards this man? Because those are two different things. And if you feel feelings towards the man, then you got to be reevaluating. Okay. So back to the addiction cycle, right? Very, very much important that we understand how this happens, why it happens, and why it's important to making you irresistible. Because when you can continue on this cycle of giving him just a little bit of validation and just enough where he feels good about himself to go on and seek more validation, well, now you have this guy in a cycle where he's continuing to find you fascinating and chase after you and pursue you, not just because you're amazing and you're awesome, because you are, but also because he wants that validation from you. So it's like a double-edged sword. And that's perfect for you because now you have him acting totally right. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And I forgot to give you guys an example of the initiative cycle, right? When we were talking about the initiative cycle. So let me give that now. So let's say in terms of the initiative cycle, you start ignoring a guy since he has never planned in-person dates, right? And you tell him that you're not a big texter, which I want you all to be doing. Telling guys that you're not big texters, you're not going to be on the phone. Make that very, very clear whenever he starts asking you why you don't talk a lot, why you don't text back a lot and things like that, right? And that it's best to see you in person and then, you know, anything else, because that's when that's when he's going to get the best version of you, okay, right? And you will communicate that to him. And then after that, you ignore him, okay? You ignore him because what you're trying to do is you're trying to help him go through taking the initiative cycle of realizing, oh, I'm not going to be able to speak to her or contact her if I'm not actually taking initiative of taking her out on real in-person dates. She's not a texter. She's not going to sit on the phone calls with me till 4 a.m. So if I know I really like her, I wonder what I should do if I really like a girl and I want to see her more and speak to her more, but she's not available over the phone. She did say she likes in person. Maybe we should go out on a dinner date. Oh, yeah. A dinner date would be the best thing. And the guys think they come up with this bright idea that, hey, we should go out on a date. And you don't got to say, that's what I was waiting for this entire time. All you say is, oh my gosh, you're such a smart, intelligent, capable man. I didn't even think or imagine that a dinner date would be the best thing that we could do in the situation that we're in. Now that you mention that, I think that would be a great idea. And then he says, you'll be even more shocked. I already booked us a reservation. You said you were free on next Friday, so I booked us a reservation next Friday at 7 p.m. And you're like, oh my God, you are the most capable, smart man in all the land. Like, you actually realized that I was free? And then you booked the reservation knowing that I probably would enjoy this place? You're a genius. If I could have thought of that, I would have mentioned it, but I didn't think of it. And you just play along, okay? But what's going to happen is as you play along and you just use your ignoring and your ability, ignoring, think of also ignoring as your ability to withdraw. As you use the power of withdrawing and ignoring, you'll also build this skill for the guys that you're dating and you're talking to, that they'll develop over time, where they'll be able to think for themselves without waiting on you to beg or complain about something before they actually take initiative or make a change or try to take action towards being the man that you need them to be. Okay. You'll build this muscle memory in his mind where before you have to beg or ask anything, he'll already be thinking about, what must I be doing in order to make her happy? What must I be doing in order to gain her approval? What must I be doing that she's satisfied and fulfilled in this relationship with me? Okay, that's where you want your men to be. Trust me, you will not be very happy if your relationship is built off of you chasing after the guy that you're dating and desperately seeking his validation in you. Okay, I don't want that for you. Okay. Ashley says, LOL, that type of convo is so cringy. Well, see, this is the thing. I understand it's cringy and I understand it's painful because we're having this conversation here. And you already know what you're trying to extract from him when you react these particular ways. And the guys sometimes are a little bit emotionally stunted, and it takes them some time to come up with these bright ideas that they should take initiative, and you almost have to like train them. Okay. But I promise you, it's worth it when you train your man to come up with these bright ideas that, hey, I've got to start taking initiative in this relationship. I've got to start pursuing her. I've got to start actually doing what needs to be done and being the masculine energy. Okay. Once he gets into that habit and he begins to build that cycle where he's getting that positive feedback from you and that just a little bit of validation from you, when he does that, then he'll begin to realize, okay, this is how I should continue going about this, right? Miss the Boss says, great advice, golden, right? I thought you were saying golden retriever, but yes, it's like building a golden retriever man, right? You're like turning the man that you're dating into a golden retriever man where all he's thinking about is, okay, I want your approval. I want to make you happy. I want to do what needs to be done so that you're happy and satisfied in this. Because when you're happy and satisfied, then I'm happy and satisfied. You want to be turning your men into golden retrievers because then you can be the black cat like you've been hearing on TikTok and Instagram, and you can have him chasing after you. Okay. Nikki says, do you sell a book? Currently, I do not sell a book, but I'm working on some very exciting things for all of you special, amazing people. Okay. So for now, all the information that you're going to get from me is on this show. And the show is also available on YouTube for those of you who are wondering, oh my gosh, I want to make sure I'm able to rewind this and listen to all the points over again. Don't worry, I'm also live on YouTube at this exact same time. So you can go over to my YouTube page and it's my name right above my head, and you can find this live stream there and you can rewind it and watch all the other ones, okay? Right? Does that make sense to you guys so far? Now, do you have any questions about what we just discussed today? So we talked about it was the insecurity, the validation, ego boost, the initiative cycle, and then the addiction cycle, okay? Right? Someone says, are you from the islands? No, I'm Nigerian. Okay, I don't live in Nigeria currently. I live in Toronto currently, but I'm Nigerian. That's what my background is. That's where I was born, actually, right? But I've been living in Toronto and also America since I was young, since I was very young. I've lived in New York, Indiana, and I live in Staten Island, New York. I lived in Pendleton, Indiana, and then now I live in Toronto. Okay. So does that make sense to you guys so far on what we discussed, right? M says has a good question. She says, is blocking him along with ignoring him or is that too much? So okay, so if we're talking about ignoring him in the sense of a guy that, this is where you need to be able to apply this to the different places that you the different situations that a lot of you are going to be facing. So what I'm talking about is, if you're in a situation where you're ignoring a man to get him more into the habit of pursuing you, then you don't necessarily need to block him because he hasn't done anything wrong. You just want to stimulate his ability to start taking initiative and being like, okay, I want to take you out on a date. Okay, I want to actually start meeting you in person. If you are someone who has a pen pal, there's a lot of you that have pen pals. If you don't know what a pen pal is because you're new here, a pen pal is just simply a man who you're messaging chronically and talking to on the phone chronically, right? Whether it be FaceTime or even phone calls, but you don't ever see each other in person. You just chit chat on the phone all day long and on social media all day long, sending each other reels and sending each other memes all day long, Snapchatting all day long. No intention of actually meeting each other. Okay, that's a pen pal. And for some of you with pen pals, ignoring him is the key to actually getting out of him an in-person meeting. Because if he's a pen pal to you and he's accustomed to being able to speak to you all the time over the phone, as soon as you squeeze the life out of his ability to contact you that way, well, then his only choice in being able to see you or contact you becomes, well, I gotta take initiative and try to see her in person, whether it be on a date or going to see her or taking a trip there or planning something where we see each other in person, because I'm not going to get access to her over the phone. So in a scenario like that, blocking wouldn't be the necessary way that you would want to go about it, because it wouldn't make sense for what you're trying to accomplish. Now, if you're just, if a man just proves to you that he's not even prepared in any way, shape or form to be the man that you need, then, and you know that it's over, then you block him, right? Bella says, mute him. Yeah, you could mute him if you know that you're someone who's weak, that when you try to ignore someone, you watch their stories chronically and you can't stop looking and lurking on everything that they're posting. And if they post something that triggers you, like posting 2 wine glasses instead of 1, and you think that one has a smudge of lipstick and you freak out and you send him a message, well, then if you know you're like that, then it's probably best for you to mute him so that you can ignore him properly in peace. Okay, right? Does that make sense? Right? Kai says, while you're not talking to him, do you still, what does it say? Do you still post on social media for them to see? 100%. I wouldn't advise you to post things, like sub him. Okay, so for those of you that like to post Justin LeBoy quotes and stuff to sub people or sub guys on your story, don't do that. Okay, post you and post your life as if you've forgotten about him. If you're going to do this ignoring thing properly, you got to post on your story as if you've literally forgotten about him and you're not concerned about him. Don't be posting no Justin LeBoy quotes trying to sub him with your story. Don't do that, because it makes it obvious that you're trying to sub him, and it makes it obvious that you care a lot. If you're ignoring someone properly, the feeling is not that, oh, I'm really mad at you and I hate you so much. The feeling you want him to feel is that you're disinterested in him. You've literally forgotten about him. Your life is going on and it's amazing. And if he were to text you, you'd literally be like, who is this? I don't even remember who you are, right? That's the feeling you want to portray. And so you portray that feeling by muting his stories so you're not watching them anymore, right? And by not responding to anything he says and not posting anything that's meant to be a subtweet or a diss, or posting reposting any weird reels for him to see you reposting to think that that's all the stuff. Listen, I'm not an idiot, okay? Right? And I'm actually of this generation of people. So I know what you guys are actually doing, how you guys do stuff now. So I know about the subs on the IG story. I know about the way you'll repost stuff on TikTok to try to send him a message. Okay? I know about all that stuff. Right? I'm not a grandpa. And so I say that to say, you don't be doing that. If you want to properly ignore him, okay? Don't sub him and don't block him, because it just shows that you're bothered. You want guys to feel like you've forgotten about them. That's the hit to the ego. That's where the insecurity comes in. That's where they feel like they're not good enough, or they haven't lived up to your expectations. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Julie says, one of our channel members, she says, I have a date Saturday night and we haven't been texting at all. He just scheduled with me, but he texted me a couple of hours ago asking me what kind of atmosphere I like. I didn't answer him for 3 hours. Okay, well, if he, if he's asking, okay, I do want you guys to be careful not to take my advice to an extreme level. So Julie, if he's asking you what type of atmosphere you like because he's trying to plan the date that he wants to take you on, then like answer him, right? If that's what because that's what it sounds like he's asking you, right? If he's just casually trying to chit chat with you with no intention of booking a date, then that's different, right? So I don't want you guys to be ignoring men. This is the thing. You ignore men the right way. So you ignore them to get a particular type of response out of them. Then you validate them when they give you that particular type of response. So for someone like Julie, if you're trying to ignore him to stimulate him wanting to actually take you out on this date, and then he texts you trying to get some information so that he can take you out on this date, answer that message. But if he's just here to chit chat with you casually, you don't need to be answering those messages. You understand what I'm saying? But reward him for when he's acting the right way, so that you can, so that he can get in the mind frame of, okay, when I do the thing properly and I act how I'm supposed to be acting, then I get rewarded through the validation of being with her and getting access to her. Okay. So if he's asking you what atmosphere you like, he's trying to figure out, how do I make the best date for you? That's good. That's good. That's good. That's a good thing. So don't be ignoring that. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Someone earlier, one of our channel members, Ivy said, can we not just, with Insta? You can see, here's the thing. I mean, you can, if you're talking about, can we not just post, you can post on anything, but all I'll say is on any platform that you're posting on, don't be posting subs. Okay. Don't be subbing him in any of your posts, right? And do whatever app that you struggle the most with. For some of you, it's Instagram. You know, you're a serial Instagram story watcher. For some of you who are on the older side, it's Facebook. For some of you who are even on the younger side, it's Snapchat, okay? For some of you who are international, it may even be WhatsApp. Whatever app you struggle the most on when it comes to your relationships and your guys, you know what app you struggle the most on. For some of you, even it's TikTok. Right? Whatever app you find yourself lurking the most on, that's the app where you need to have him muted on. Okay. If not all of them, for some of you, even it will just be all of them. But whatever app that you struggle the most with when it comes to your guys that you're in a relationship with, that's the app he needs to be muted on. And you should not be watching anything that he's doing, because that will be an addiction. And that's what's going to trigger you to start texting him or messaging you. Okay. And we don't want you in that position. Okay. Mute them. Don't block them. It'll show them that you care a lot. You want them to feel like you're disinterested in them. Okay. That's what you want the feeling to be like. Okay. Someone said earlier, she said, I blocked him. Where did it go? She said, I blocked him. I can't find it now. Resend your message. I forget who it was that said that, right? How can I flip the script? Nikki says, when you've been the golden retriever, could it be too late? You should go watch my live show where I literally talked about how to get your power back. It's on YouTube, so you can go find it there. And I literally discuss how to flip the script back. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'll just give you a little glimpse on that. This is not going to work for some people, because for some of you, when you take a step back and you withdraw, you'll come to the realization that the guy that you withdrew from was not even interested in you that much in the first place. That's painful, but that's a reality that some of you are going to have to face and be honest about, right? And understand that you were the one basically driving this relationship. Does that make sense? It's the honest truth, right? The pertinent says, and I'm tired of being disrespected by him, more so that I am a very good friend to him. Well, so I think actually I think that your situation would be best served if you asked it in the Discord, because it seems like you have quite a conundrum on your hands and it requires a little bit of massaging. So you should ask your question on the Discord. For those of you who are new here, the Discord is a place where we ask questions to me and to the chat, right? And I answer them live on the stream. So if you have a question for me, like a situation that you actually require some real, it's more detailed than just a single lined question, you go ahead and you ask it to me on the Discord. And if you're on TikTok, you just go ahead in the link in my bio, you can head into my Discord through there. Or if you're on YouTube, you just go over to the pinned comment at the top, or you go over to the bottom and the link in the description. Okay. And you can do that there, right? Does that make sense? Hey, Courtney says, I just want to know what color I should get my nails. What color, whatever color you enjoy. If you're asking me my preference, I like French tips, but that's just my preference. That has nothing to do with what anyone else would enjoy. Okay. Someone says, Flower says, why did my comments disappear? They shouldn't have disappeared. I don't delete comments unless my mods did. Okay. In which case there's probably a reason my mod did that. Okay. When posting stories, how much is too much? If you're saying if you're trying to ignore him, how much is too much? It really depends. Like, post what's natural to you. If you're someone who doesn't really post much and then all of a sudden you're posting 10 stories, that seems like you're compensating for something. If you're someone that naturally just posts a lot, you post your breakfast, lunch, dinner, you post your face, you post everything, then post as much as you would regularly post. Don't change what you're doing trying to elicit more out of a guy. Just keep doing what you're doing. Any slight difference in the way that you are reacting or responding is going to tell him that you're doing it for him, and you don't want that. You want him to make him feel like you forgot about him. Okay? Does that make sense? M says, I blocked him on WhatsApp because I didn't get a response after 24 hours. I still want him to approach me. I mean, if you blocked him, then how is he supposed to approach you? And if you're blocking someone because he doesn't respond to you in 24 hours, you have a problem. And you need to fix your issue by asking yourself why 24 hours of someone not messaging you back will send you down such a deep spiral that you feel the need to block them. That's very reactive. And that screams, I'm so desperate, I literally can't go 24 hours without getting a message from you. It screams, I have nothing else to do in my life. And my life, not to make fun of you, but that's how people perceive it. If I get blocked by someone because it takes me more than 24 hours to respond to a message, I immediately think to myself subconsciously, this person literally sat on the phone watching paint dry, hoping I would text them back. That person must not have anything else to do with their life except for wait for me to text them back, which is why they're so bothered that it took me 24 hours. Okay. Now I understand, yeah, you know, someone be like, well, they could have sent me a text in the entire 24 hours. The reality of it is, like, people have things to do. And honestly, you're not always going to be the most important thing in someone's life 24/7. And that's not a crime. You should also have things that you prioritize and are important to you, that you don't feel the need to get a message from someone every 24 hours. And if you don't, then your life's in shambles. I need to tell you that people will never receive you how you want to be received by them if you're in that space. Okay. That being said, it's time. Members of the Players Club, unite and tell the rest of the chat what time it is, because those who are new here will have no idea what time it is. They'll be very confused on what time it is because they're new and they don't know. They might get to know. They should know, but it is time. Please, members, let them know what time it is. Let them know how much fun we're about to have. Okay? Because okay, let's do this. Let's do this. All right. So for those of you who are new here, you'll have no idea what anyone's referring to in the chat, but you're going to learn. Discord time is essentially where we get to ask, the beautiful channel members, the beautiful Players Club members get to ask me and the rest of the chat and the rest of the stream questions of their own personal situation, whether it be their relationship or situationship or their ex, whatever it may be. And we answer them live on the show. These are, I'll keep you guys understanding, these are in order of the date that they were posted. So when I'm scrolling down, these are all the ones that I haven't answered yet. So you can see there's quite a few that I haven't answered yet. There's a lot of questions, and I answer them based on the date that they were posted. So just keep that in mind if you're wondering why yours might not get answered right away. Okay, we have a lot in the queue. So let's start with King Julian. King Julian. Okay, Julian, a girl. Okay. She says, should I bother? Okay, let's see. Me, 20 years old, female, going on dates. I met a guy on a dating app and we talked for about a week. All was going well and we seemed to have a lot in common. Within that week, he made arrangements to come visit me from quite far, 2 to 3 hours by car / train for a first date. He came under the premise of visiting a friend. Excuse me. Like he visited you like he was visiting a friend. And he would be meeting me the day after. Within the week and a half of talking, he started quite quickly to call me things like baby, beautiful, gorgeous. And at first, I was a bit skeptical. You should be. You should be. You should be. But unfortunately, let it slide because of how physically attracted I am to the guy. Nice. So the day of the date comes and we meet for the first time and he looked even better in real life, which made me even more physically attracted. So your squirtle was throbbing. That's what you're saying. Okay. On the first date, he is overly touchy and he didn't pay for my food. So all this beautiful baby, you're so amazing, all this other stuff, right? He was saying all that. He couldn't even pay for your meal. Interesting. Not that I'm expecting that, but I heard that if he really likes you, he would, and all the other dates I've been on, guys have paid without question. And he insinuates staying over at mine before he goes back to where he came from the following morning. Wow, so he wants to stay at your place, but he can't even pay for the meal. Interesting, very interesting. I wonder what he's looking for. I tell him that he won't be sleeping at mine, but we can chill at mine for a bit before he goes back to his friends. So, you're young, so you probably didn't realize that this was a mistake, but this was a mistake. Very big mistake. So we just watched some stuff back at mine and the furthest it went was cuddling. Okay, let's see. Throughout, he still insinuated that he could stay, but I said no, of course he did. So he goes back to his friends. After this first time meeting, there was definitely an energy shift in the texting, probably because he was hoping to sleep with you. He hasn't called me a single pet name. Interesting how that all vanished when he didn't sleep with you, or compliment ever since like he did before. Stop texting me every morning. Coincidence how that happens. Maybe he just got a job opportunity the day after he saw you and didn't sleep with you. He clearly just wanted pineapples without even bothering to pay for the first date. I guess maybe you are smart. It wasn't even a restaurant. I took your advice and withdrew to see where this goes, and he texts after like 5 days asking how I am. I hope you didn't respond. Still not arranging a second date. Also, he mentioned he doesn't know what he's looking for. Okay, okay. Whenever a guy tells you that, okay, done. You're done. When a guy is telling you he doesn't know what he's looking for, he's literally setting himself up for the future of, okay, so when I play in your face, I can go back to when I said I didn't know what I was looking for, and I can make the excuse that I am playing in your face because I don't know what I want. So let's all be confused together. Let's hold hands and sing the confusion song together. C is for friends who sleep together. O is for I'm on top of you. Like, it's just like, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's very dumb. Okay. But wouldn't mind having a girlfriend. What sense does that make? I don't know what I want, but I wouldn't mind having a girlfriend. It makes no sense. Should I bother trying to get him to chase? And by the way, I'm still talking to other guys, but I'm tripping over how good looking he is. Okay. How old are you? You're young, right? You're 20. Okay. That's why you're worried about that. Not that you shouldn't worry about how attractive a guy is, but you'll realize you're going to meet other attractive guys, and a guy being attractive is not the be all and end all of what your relationship will actually, whether your relationship will be good or bad or fulfilling or not. And you'll realize that. Don't worry, you're 20, so that's what matters to you the most. I get it. But as you grow up, you'll realize that for you, it doesn't really matter. Okay. Especially as a woman. But I say that to say, in this case, what's really actually hurt is your ego. So kind of like we discussed before, earlier, right? Your ego is attached to the fact that him kind of playing in your face and showing you that he doesn't really care that much about you makes you feel insecure. And the fact that you feel insecure because you're not receiving much validation from him after not sleeping with him is making you feel like you should start doing more to gain back some of that interest he seemed to have in you. This is the real danger, where the real danger comes in, because when you're in a position like this, where you're thinking to yourself, I don't like how you've pulled away your interest in me. You don't text me every morning. You see how you said this earlier, right? There's no more pet names, no more compliments. He stopped texting you every morning. So now you start thinking to yourself, well, I really enjoyed that. I want to get that side of you back. So maybe if I do more for you, I'll get that same interest that you once had in me for you. So then what happens is you start thinking, okay, maybe I need to start doing somersaults and cartwheels. Maybe I need to start opening my legs wide open and showing you how far wide I can open my legs, that maybe when you penetrate me, you'll give me the pet names, you'll give me the compliments, and you'll give me the text every morning. It's a crazy trick that your mind plays on you. And then what you'll realize is after you do sleep with him, that he won't even contact you for anything except to sleep with you again. So I think honestly, what you need to acknowledge is that what's really hurt here is not the fact that he's attractive or anything like that. It's really that your ego's hurt, that he kind of just treated you like trash and doesn't really want much to do with you. I promise you, just give it a couple of weeks. You're 20 years old. Okay. Everything feels like a big deal now. Give it a month. I promise you, this won't even be as big a deal to you as you think it's going to be. Okay. Like I can assure you, right? You're wondering, does he like you? No. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. He doesn't. He wants to sleep with you. If he really liked you, he would try more than he's been doing. Okay. He doesn't like you. So don't even be imagining that scenario. He doesn't like you for you. He likes you for being able to use your Squirtle. Okay. He's 20 to 21. Even more reason why he absolutely has no idea what he wants to do. You said, I'm considering a situationship with him, but I don't know if I should risk my mental health. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you get into a situationship with this man, you might as well never enter the Players Club again, because you'll literally feel horrible about every decision you've made in the conversations that we have after that, because you'll realize how much of a stupid mistake that is. Don't do that. Don't acknowledge him. Unfollow him. Don't contact him again. Move on with your life unless he comes back to you ready to say that I'm ready to build a relationship. No need for you to contact him or speak to him anymore. Okay, next we have here, let's see. We got Shaggy. One-sided love, Shaggy says. Okay. Shaggy says, hi guys, I'm just feeling lonely. I have nobody on my side. I only seem to attract one-sided relationships and friendships. Oh, sad face. I'm dying on the inside, and at times I feel like taking my own life. Okay. What could I be doing wrong? Okay, is it Shaggy or Shaggy? One-sided. Oh, no, this is someone else answering. Okay. So Shaggy, I want to tell you that first of all, I know that everything feels like it's a big deal right in the moment, but I don't know how old you are, but I can assure you, just taking things day by day is the best way to go about this when you are in a place like this. Okay. And you have to understand, the most important thing that you need to do is you need to find purpose in your life. When all of your sense of validation and self-worth is based on how other people feel about you or treat you, or if they want to be with you, especially when it's romantic and it's so focused on guys, you're always going to be down in the dumps, and you're going to be giving away so much of your control over your own emotions to other people. So the very first thing that you need to be doing, I believe it says Shaki. The very first thing that you need to be doing is figuring out how to give your life some purpose and meaning outside of boys, outside of even friendships, and just start thinking of, what do I like? What do I enjoy What puts a smile on my face outside of boys and relationships and even friends? Just what does me? No, that nobody likes to think about themselves. Like sometimes we be liking to think about everything else except for what do I need? What are my needs? I want you to literally spend days and weeks and months thinking about what makes me happy, not anyone else. What puts a smile on my face, not anyone else. And I just want you to just do that every day. That's all I want you to do is every day. Whether it be, I really enjoy makeup, so I'm going to try a new makeup style every single day. I really enjoy doing hair, so I'm going to do my sister's hair every single day. I don't know. I really enjoy going to the gym, so I'm going to go to the gym every single day. I really enjoy running. I really enjoy yoga. I really enjoy painting. I really enjoy writing. Whatever it is that puts a smile on your face, I want you to just do that every single day. And literally don't worry about anything else. Because what's going to happen is as you do that every single day, your life is going to slowly but surely feel like it has a little bit of purpose. And the thing about it is when you feel like you have a little bit, just a little bit of purpose, you'll feel like your life has meaning and there's some importance to each and every day, which is the most important thing when you're in a situation like this. Okay, we've all been down before. We've all felt down before. So the most important thing is you have to make sure that each and every day feels somewhat fulfilling, makes you feel like you've accomplished something or done something that you enjoy in some sort of forward momentum. Because then when you wake up in the morning, you'll actually feel like I need to wake up in the morning because I actually have places to be and things to do. And just only worry about that. And I promise you, if you continue doing that, you can build on it and build on it and build on it until your entire day is filled with things that require your attention and energy and scheduling. It's not about burying yourself in work. It's about actually doing things that you care about and find fulfilling, that your life feels fulfilling. And you feel like you have a need to wake up in the morning and do things because those things are important to you and those things need to be accomplished. Okay. So, and that's a good place to be in your life. Okay. So just start by doing one thing that you like outside of boys and relationships. Okay. Next year we have, let's see. Ray. Okay. Ray says, age gap dating. Am I his dream girl? Is he potential? So Ray says, I'm 28. I met this man who's 47 on a dating app. We met for the first time in the week of May. He's a successful man, divorced 5 years back, has a son, but the son is grown. He's 21. Okay. So you're, that's just, okay. Quite. So his son's about your age. Okay. You should be dating his son. He had a relationship, but broke up 9 months ago. Okay. Just a relationship. That wasn't the mother of his child. Okay. He took me on the first date, fine dining, and showed me a lot of interest in me. He consistently wanted to see me, but due to my schedule, I couldn't make time. Also, he asked me on last minute dates twice and got turned down. Okay. By the way, thank you so much, Ray, putting punctuation. Clearly you've spell checked this. Clearly you've read this back. I love reading your stories, even if they're a little bit longer, when you guys put your punctuation, when you guys reread it over, when you guys treat it like an essay. Okay. That's a very easy read for me and the chat. 3 weeks after our first date, we met for a second date. We were comfy to kiss and he was touchy, but didn't do anything that I wasn't comfy with. He was respectful. We met for a third date after a week after that. Same thing, fun, touchy, and respectful. Fourth date, he took me out for my B-day. It was very nice. He always takes me out fine dining, always gives me princess treatment, and between dates, we don't text much, most of the time just to schedule our date. Okay, so what's going wrong here? Okay, we don't text much, just schedule our date. He is always available whenever I ask him to. Okay, I wouldn't advise you seeking him out, but okay. One time during a work day, I texted to see if he can come see me. He dropped everything and came to see me. Okay, that's good still. You have a lot of power. That's what that means. However, even though we have I think you might say, even though we have a great connection, I noticed he didn't really ask any questions about myself as much as I asked him. Not necessarily a bad thing. I don't want to say that remember, you're there to learn more about him anyways. So the more information you're gathering, it's honestly an even better thing for you. You talking about yourself is not really going to do you any good in terms of learning more about him, especially at 47. And, obviously he's single. Very important that you're gathering as much information as you can to figure out like why that ended, right? Why his last relationship ended or why he's single to this point. The latest date I had, a bit too much to drink. Not a good idea. So I was tipsy. We went back to his house just to hang. Oh, God. And we made out. One thing to another. He was all over me and I was too horned up. So since we've been seeing each other quite a lot sometimes, we were so close to having pineapples. But when he was about to put it in, he said I looked nervous, like I don't want this. Respectful man. Or like I don't, or like I do, but I don't. Which is true because I wanted him, but nervous if that was the right thing to do. So we stopped and kissed instead. Wow. I'm not giving a round of applause to you because that wasn't your doing, okay? I'm giving a round of applause to him because that was respectful of him to recognize that and to speak up, literally speak up for you, because you didn't speak up for yourself in that moment, and I'm a little bit disappointed in you that you couldn't speak up for yourself. But I'm happy that you're with a man that was respectful enough of you that he recognized that even though you weren't going to speak up for yourself, he was going to speak up for you because he could see that maybe you weren't completely ready for it. But I do think that you should have taken the initiative of speaking up for yourself because it doesn't represent you the way that you would want to be represented when you don't speak up for yourself that way. Okay. Now I do like our connection, but I don't know if he truly likes me or is just keeping me around until he could get pineapples. He did say he wanted to get married again, but I don't see him actively pursuing me besides planning dates. I don't like him that much. Wait, what? What just happened? What? Chat, what? I don't like him that much, but I do want him to pursue me. So you just want the validation. What just happened? You just like him chasing after you. I want to be his dream girl. How do I approach? So you just want to be worshipped. You don't even like this man. Whose name on here is Dr. Umar's niece? You silly goobers. Nah, y'all playing around. Sorry, I got sidetracked here, but whose name on here is Dr. Umar's niece? For some of you who know Dr. Umar, you'll know why that's funny. You silly goobers, whose name on here is Dr. Umar's niece? Anyways, listen. What's your name here? Ray. I think that, first of all, I'm happy that he was respectful enough of you in what you needed in that moment to do that for you. But I also want you to see, this is the thing. He's 47, you're 28. There's an age gap. You recognize that. Obviously, he recognizes that age gap as well. And the thing about it is that when you're so much younger than him, you really want to you want him to see you as his like equal, not see you as like his daughter. Not even in a weird, pineapple-y way. I really mean that because when you're this much younger than him, and in fact, when you're around the age of his son, you really need to be presenting yourself as if you're grown enough to know what you want, know what you need, that he doesn't have to like baby you the same way he would baby a child. The same way a child, you can see that a child is uncomfortable, or you can see that a child is hungry, or you can see that a child is upset, and you basically have to do the job as an adult to figure out what that child needs at that moment, right? And figure out how to give them what they want so that they're not upset anymore. And the child can't even speak up for themselves and tell you why they're upset or tell you how to solve their problem. You don't want to be in that position with the man that you're dating that's already that much older than you, because he's not really going to be taking you serious as his equal when you're in a position like that. So that's why I say it's good that you guys didn't have pineapples, but let's be so for real. You didn't have pineapples because he took care of you, not because you spoke up for yourself. And it doesn't speak well to your ability to have a strong mind or your ability to like have him respect or fear you in any capacity. He just kind of sees you as kind of like his daughter, and you know, he kind of takes care of you and he does nice things for you. But let's say, you know, this is the problem. When you start trying to, I don't even want to say that he wouldn't respect your boundaries, but it stops him from being able to see you as like an individual that's his equal. And he starts seeing you as someone who's kind of like beneath him that he has to take care of. And if he doesn't take care of you and figure out what your needs and wants are, then you're like silly putty and you can't sustain yourself. You don't want a guy to view you that way, because slowly but surely that will turn into him taking advantage of you. You understand what I'm saying? Not necessarily that this guy would, but I just, you know, that's what ends up happening usually after a while when you continue to present yourself that way. So I actually think that if you want to be his dream girl, you can't make him feel like he literally didn't sleep with you because he chose not to sleep with you. You have to kind of turn the tables and say, look, we're not doing anything that happened that time again. So you don't even have to say, I'm not going to be drinking heavy around you. You can just deny getting super drunk around him when you go out on these dates. And then also denying going back to, you know, him coming back to your place, or putting yourself at all in a position again where you'll be too horned up to be able to make a clear, rational decision. Because despite how horned up you were, you still couldn't say no for yourself. He was horned up too, and he was the one saying no for you. That is insane, and that does not gain you the respect or the fear that you want to have in a relationship where you want a man wrapped around your finger. If you want to be the dream girl to a man, he has to respect and fear you, which means he has to feel like, hey, I can't cross boundaries. She knows what she wants. She knows what she's looking for, and I have to capitulate to her to make sure that I'm doing what she needs and she expects from me and meeting her standards. Because right now it seems like you don't have many standards, right? And he can do what he wants with you, but he's actually the one pacing this relationship. Meanwhile, you should be pacing the relationship if you want to be his dream girl. So that's my advice to you. You've got to flip it where you're the one in control and you're the one pacing him and doing what you want to do when you want to do it, how you want to do it. Not him stopping you and saying, look, we won't sleep together. That does not look good on you at all. Does not look good on you. Okay. Next here we have, let's see, what just happened? Because I just did this. Let me just make sure. Okay. You guys are jokesters. Like, who was that person that said that Dr. Umar's niece, that's your name on here? You're silly. You're a silly goose. Okay. This is Shaki's, I guess, second question. It was in the queue back to back. So she says, hey guys, what's the right course of action towards someone who is showing signs of disinterest after months of dating? Should I communicate how I feel, mirror his behavior, or just walk away and go no contact? I am in a dilemma here. If someone's showing signs of disinterest in you, yes, you mirror. You show the exact same signs of disinterest in them. Actually, you show more signs of disinterest in them. And if they ever were to show signs of interest in you, you continue showing them signs of disinterest, like complete disinterest, meaning you don't message, you don't text, you don't call, you don't even text back, you don't call back, you don't nothing back until he starts to beg for you and beg for your attention. So if someone's showing disinterest in you, the only time you accept them back into your life or you even communicate back to them is when they start begging for you. And begging to see you, not just begging to get a message back, but begging to see you in real life, okay? You need to make people beg. So yes, you mirror back and you show even more disinterest. Next we have here, let's see. Oh, this one was deleted. Okay, fine, perfectly fine with me. Deleted again, perfectly fine with me. You won't get your question answered. Hello, Tom, Katie says, I am 19. Oh God. I am 19, but wait, don't skip. I am in need of advice for my immediate family. Okay, Katie, let's see what you got here, okay? This may or may not sound like a troll, but each detail is 100% true, I promise. Is this another avocado cartel? Okay, let's see. For context, my mother had me at 19. My father is 23. Okay. My father was mostly abusive, we'll just say abusive, with us both growing up. But when I was a teen, she would always force me to go to his house every weekend, knowing what was bound to happen because she just wanted time to be with her boyfriend at the moment. I just cut him off a year ago, like your father, but my mother has the problem you mentioned about not being able to cut off. Okay, well, that's also the mother to her child. So I'm sorry, the father to her child. So a little bit different, but okay. So he keeps her, so she keeps her old friends and my dad's side of the family up to date with my whole life and tries to get me to talk to him despite me already saying that I made my decision and I'm standing firm on it. Well, okay, fair that you don't want to speak to your dad anymore, but that doesn't mean that she should stop updating your dad on your whereabouts and your life like you're still his daughter. So I don't think that your mom's doing anything wrong by making your father aware of like the life of his daughter. Okay. I also have an emotionally distant sister that I haven't been fond of growing up. Not saying anything is her fault. I just always feel like my parents wanted me to raise her myself and let her treat me however. Wait, I thought she's the older sister. Did you not say older? Whole life growing up, just a distant sister. Okay. Just for the sake of being my sister. And that's what sisters do. But I honestly have come to realize I'm not a family person. Now to the story. My mom has a 42-year-old friend that she has known since high school, I believe. Okay, okay. Where is this going? He has a stable career and a little more money than my mother is familiar with. Where is this going? He has 2 sons and a newly 20-year-old and one 18. He has witnessed most of her relationships and they had casual pineapples during her single period. How would you know this? That your mother's having casual pineapples with this person? Okay, let's go on. Even though he had a wife and their marriage was gradually failing. So your mom was involved in an affair with this man. Each time he tried to leave, she used both pregnancies to guilt him into staying. How would you wait? How would you know? Okay. But he eventually divorced fully about 7 years ago. During that time, my mother was dating another man with a family. So she would wait. Your mom was dating 2 men that both had a family, like separate. Like so, she was involved in an affair with 2 men at the same time. He ended up cheating on her with his baby mother, who he technically never separated from, and he left. Shortly after, her and the 42-year-old man would become serious, and he asked her to be his girlfriend 6 years ago. Things were going well in terms of her relationship and children balance for a couple of years until he convinced her to move into his 1-bathroom, 2-bedroom house. That sounds more like an apartment in 2021. Not sure why they were moving 6 people into a house that size would be ethical, but whatever. It's not. It doesn't really make much sense. After only a month of living here, he goes to Nashville and cheats on her. How would you know this though? I'm not saying that it's a lie. How would you know this though? I found it hysterical that he was loyal for 3 years, then waited until we move in and couldn't leave to cheat. Well, I mean, he was already cheating on, this is why I always say how you get him is how you're going to lose him. So he was already cheating on his other wife with your mom. So I don't know what your mom expected. No diss to your mom, but I don't know what your mom expected. But hey, I stay in a kid's place. She forgave him. And to this day, she still asks him if he cheated anytime after that. Okay. I asked why she keeps defending men that treat her this way. Not only her, but her kids. But she insists on waiting on him to go to propose and doesn't plan on leaving. However, he has threatened to leave her on multiple occasions, goes on trips without telling her, and other things. Yet I can't seem to peel her off him, despite stressing how she is conditioning her children to accept this treatment from people. You can't want things for other people more than they want it for themselves. And unfortunately, the same way where you'll be with a best friend that you know is getting treated poorly in the relationship, and you'll be trying to show them how poorly they're being treated in the relationship, they can't see it until they decide to see it. So it's as painful as it is, you kind of have to let go trying to get her to see it. Anyways, I've had a car for about 2 years now, and I have invited her out with me on multiple occasions. You've invited your mom to go out with you. I don't think that that's going to work out how you want it to work out, but let's go on. But she always seems to not have time for it, but plans dates, vacations, and shopping sprees with her man with no problem. If you're talking about going out to just like not the club, but going out to just have fun and enjoy her life, that's good, actually. So I thought you were mentioning the club, but if you just mean in general to explore her life outside of this man, then that's actually a good thing. Anytime he has an issue with the household, she nips us in the butt. She nips us in the butt immediately. But when he's doing something to inconvenience us, like making me miss my work shifts by hogging the bathroom nearly every morning or eating me and my sister's groceries, she uses it as a chance to defend him against me, saying, "You don't pay any bills around here, so you don't get a say in this house. So since I don't pay bills, I don't get access to a restroom or my food." Got it. Well, okay, if the food thing's an issue, then you should buy yourself a mini fridge where you can keep the food that you actually use in the mini fridge. Just a little bit of advice. Every rule they have has a double standard. When I attempt to talk about her negligence, she argues that me and my sister are no longer her problem and that we can supply our own needs since I am fully an adult now and my sister is old enough to work. Well, if that's the case, that you guys are old enough to work and get your own job, then this should be crazy motivation to you to start making your own money that you don't have to rely on your mom anymore. Sure, that's true. I do have my own job and my own money, so okay, that's good. But I feel like I shouldn't have to beg my mother for consideration or her time. I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, you wouldn't have to, but you have to work with what you got. So if you have a job and you can make your own money, then do that and be independent instead of hoping that one day your mom will magically change from the person she's been for the rest of her 42-year-old life. I also want to look forward to the food that I buy. Get a mini fridge. With all that being said, I have decided to move an hour and a half away from everyone within the next year so that my family cannot continue to force me to accept conditions that I don't want to deal with or be in tune with every update of my life. Perfectly fine. I'm thinking about breaking the news the week before, maybe even a couple of days before. But I know she's going to ask to visit me and question me all of a sudden with the urgency of my decision. The same way she just said, "You're an adult, you can make your own decisions," is the same response you have you should have to her. Regurgitate that same thing. I'm an adult. I make my own decisions for me. I can take care of myself. I'm outie because I feel like being outie. I have tried multiple times to explain to her how she is too deep in her man's hole and her to be validated by these people in her life will be eventually the downfall of our relationship if she doesn't get it together. People aren't going to see it until they feel like seeing it. She doesn't like to properly discuss things. She just gets hostile and spills how hard it is to be a mother. And my answer is always the same. You shouldn't have swallowed or aborted. Wow. That's what you say to your mom. You shouldn't have swallowed or aborted me then if you knew that you wouldn't be able to be a good parent. Okay. I get that you're upset, but what good is that doing? Okay. I've had my own fair share of family situations, but like what actual good is that doing in terms of like getting you where you want to be? Anyways, and she ends the conversation. Of course she would. You're saying something super offensive. I know that there is nothing I can do to help her when it comes to the realization that she is looking past her own kids to pay attention to a man that is looking past her. But I can't bring myself to cut her off the way I did to my dad. I feel like I'm moving away from her and it'll add a little sting to it. My question is to you, how do I tell her goodbye when it comes that time? If she asked to see my apartment, how can I tell her no without sounding like a bad kid? Here's the reality that you're going to realize, okay? This is a very funny thing that happens. When you move out of the house, a lot of the things that used to bother you about your mom, you're going to start to forget them. And you're going to start to actually miss some qualities about, I know you've been going through some turmoil with her, but you're going to start to actually miss some qualities about her that you became accustomed to in being around her that you don't get a chance to experience anymore because you're moved out of the house. Especially if you're moving to an apartment by yourself. It's going to feel very quiet going from having 6 people into a house to having just yourself. So I'm not saying that your relationship's magically going to mend, but you'll be shocked what a little bit of distance will do to a relationship for you and her, because not only will you begin to miss her and miss being able to see her and spend some time with her, even if it's for a short stint, she will also begin to miss you and appreciate you for what you brought to the table and who you were when you were there. Okay. For some reason, the moving out portion of family relationships for a lot of times changes the dynamic. And especially because for you, all the things that you have to like endure by being around her, you know, her man eating your food, her man inconveniencing you, and all that stuff that really annoyed you, that actually motivated you to move out. When you don't have to deal with those things because you have your own space, your mom won't seem as much of a burden or an inconvenience to you, and it won't upset you what she chooses to do with her life as much, because you'll realize that it doesn't really affect you. When you're in your own house doing your own thing, what she decides to do in her relationships won't really feel as offensive towards you anymore. I know it sounds like it's never going to happen, but I can assure you, having that experience myself, not that exact experience, but having a likened experience to that, I like it. Trust me, it happens. Also, do you have any advice for a first-time mover in terms of the planning process of moving from one city to another and what to expect financially? Thank you for your help and taking the time to read this. Okay, yeah. So if you're moving by yourself, the most shocking realization that you'll have if you're moving to a place by yourself is that nothing happens unless you do it. So you're not gonna have any friendships if you don't go out and start making some friends. You're also going to realize that the house doesn't get cleaned and nothing gets done unless you do it. So you actually have to be responsible for yourself. And if anything in your house or in your place is off, things are messy, things are unkept, that's a reflection on you. So it actually forces you to be way more responsible and be way more forward thinking. It's a good thing. Okay. It actually will help also you grow the appreciation of what it's like to have to be responsible, not just for you, but be responsible for other people as well. Okay. And you'll trust me, you'll come to some realizations on some things that you may realize when you start having your own relationships that you may realize your mom went through. But you couldn't see that or experience that when you were still kind of in a more of a child's position. That's kind of the biggest realization, is that literally the world is your oyster, and you'll have to, when you start having to self-regulate, you are responsible for your own mistakes. I'll say it like that. That's actually the way more important thing. The financial stuff you figure out after a while. All that other stuff you figure out after a while. But the figuring out of the fact that you are responsible for your own mistakes and choices is the biggest realization that you'll make moving out of the house. So when things go wrong, you don't have anyone else to blame. Okay. It's very convenient for you because now you're in the house. You can blame a lot of your mishaps and misfortunes on the fact that your mom treats you bad and her boyfriend. When you move out of the house, you're going to realize that the only person to blame is you. That's a painful realization, because then you're going to have to actually start taking responsibility for you. Okay. But it's a good thing and you'll learn a lot. And I think in the process of you moving out, I don't think that you'll find it as, you won't be as upset at the idea of your mom wanting to visit you, because I guarantee you as time goes on, you'll begin to actually want to see her for short stints of time. I promise you and assure you of that. Okay. Next we have here, let's see, PMAC says general life advice. Okay. PMAC says, watch the episode about laziness and found it to be very motivating. Would you be willing to make more content about improving your life that isn't focused only on relationships, but improving your life as an individual? If you guys love that type of content, please let me know. I always provide to you what you guys enjoy the most of. So if you guys want some content that's even more focused on just life advice, even more than just, specifically relationships and specifically, focused on men, I can definitely give that to you guys as well. If that's a consensus, please tell me. You guys go down in the Discord, in the general chat, and let me know. If enough of you guys mention that and say that in the Discord, then I'll definitely make sure to put in an episode that's focused more on life advice and maybe how to go about friendships than just, relationships and romantic relationships and things like that. Okay. I see a lot of people saying, yes, please. I'm tired of dating content. Yes, I want that too. Okay. We'll get that. Please put that in the Discord so that I know everyone wants that. Okay. Thank you for that. Right. I can definitely do that. And thank you, PMAC, for asking that question. I always enjoy hearing what you guys would love to hear from me as well, because I'm here to serve you. So I definitely will talk about that as well. Shaki has another one. Okay. I don't want to skip you, Shaki. It's just that, let's see here. Okay. I'll answer yours. I'll answer yours. But obviously you've had 3 messages here. And other people haven't gotten a chance to get their message answered. For me, it's a walk in the park to completely go no contact, no calling, texting, viewing stories, posting cryptic messages to get his attention. But on the flip side, my mind wanders and I think about him every time, even consistently, to stalk his profile. The only time I don't think of him is when I'm asleep. Anyone has been through this. How did you cope? I have only muted him on socials because I unfollow or block him. He might get the impression that I'm still hurting after he took me for granted. Letting go, the main number one thing that you need to be doing is finding something else to put your time and attention into. So what I mean by that is you have to, like, okay, if you enjoy going to the gym, if you enjoy playing basketball, go and play basketball. If you enjoy doing makeup, like, you need to figure out what it is that you enjoy in your life, that you can focus that time and attention on that instead of focusing it on the fact that you're in no contact with someone. Because if you're only focused on going no contact with someone, then it's going to be very painful as the days pass by. Your life needs to be about more than just this boy that you're in a relationship or situationship with. Okay, that's not a crime if that's the case. Okay, I need you to understand that. So you need to find a hobby or a passion that you can focus on. Who is Dr. Umar's niece? You're a funny person. You are real funny, Dr. Umar's niece. Please identify yourself in the TikTok or YouTube chat. Whoever is Dr. Umar's niece. Okay. You're funny. That is the funniest name in the Discord, okay? If you guys don't know who Dr. Umar is, you guys don't know why that's so funny. Anyways, EXO says, question, what if you made most of the mistakes that you mentioned on your live/videos with the specific person and then you started realizing and learning all these tips and tricks you provide? Can the circumstances be reversed and be chased all through those mistakes, or were they already made? So the advice that I give you guys, I have a whole episode on my YouTube channel about on a show about how to gain your power back. So you should go watch that live show because I explain how to reverse that. But I always tell you guys, and I give you the caveat that you have to understand, some of you are trying to reverse a situation with a man who doesn't even find you that interesting or fascinated and has no intention of pursuing you in the first place. So a lot of you are going to come to the realization that you're trying to get this to work or reverse a situation with a man who never even wanted to actually invest in you at all. They only wanted access to you easily and quickly and painlessly. And if it requires putting an effort or being consistent, then they're not here for that. And so, yes, you can reverse it, but it's by withdrawing. But in the process of withdrawing, you're going to realize that in some of your cases, that withdrawing only shows you the fact that you were the one pushing the relationship forward in the first place, right? So that's the thing. So go watch my show on that. Best friend, fiance to ex. Okay, let's see what you got to say here. Okay. My BF of 3 years broke up with me. We were best friends for 4 years prior to him confessing his love for me. He broke up with me, but the main reason he broke up with me, but a main reason that I was hurt, I think you meant to say, was that he was hurt was his ego. Make sure you guys do spell checks. That you hurt his ego. He never told me I did. He kept it inside. He also said he felt emasculated by the end of the relationship. Okay. I am pursuing a medical degree as we speak, and he has a tech job without a bachelor's degree, but he earns 6 figures already. I also would reject his pricey jewelry gifts because he was in debt, and I didn't want to get him more in debt. Okay. So when he offered you a gift, you would literally say, I'm not accepting this because I don't want to put you more in debt. That's a bit emasculating. Okay. I know you did it because you care about him, but it's a bit emasculating. I can understand that. By the way, he proposed to me last year, but I caught him reaching out to a girl and flirting with her after he proposed to me. Okay. It was also not physical or emotional cheating because, wait, what? It was also not emotional or physical or emotional cheating because this interaction was only 2 to 3 days. So then why are you bringing it up as if it was an issue? If you're acknowledging it wasn't physical or emotional cheating. I believe I hit his ego, and he did this because I expressed unsatisfaction of the proposal. What was unsatisfactory of it? He proposed to me on the day with only his F-boy friend being there. Okay, so you're this type of person. I see now why he was probably rubbed the wrong way a little bit. Guys, I'm here to actually help you, not be your best friend and sing la-di-da with you and just be on your side. This would pee off any, if this is how you actually expect them, I can see why someone would be peed off. The proposal is not about other people. The proposal is not about anyone else except for you and him. So the fact that his boyfriend was there, the fact that his brother, if his brother was there, if his mom was there, if it was only his dog there, it shouldn't matter, because all that matters is you and your relationship with him. So if the proposal meant something to him and he put in the effort into this proposal with you, that's all that matters. The fact that you're worried about who was there or not at the proposal, what it makes me think, and I'm not here to attack you, but what it makes me think is that you're more focused on the optics of your relationship than you are on the actual relationship. Because his boyfriend being there has nothing to do with his actual proposal. It has more to do with the optics of what you feel like your moment should be when he proposes to you. Let's go on. And then also said that we couldn't post on IG because his parents didn't know yet and that he owed a hella debt. I get that. I get why that part would be, a little bit upsetting to you, because it's like you proposed to me and then I can't post about it. I understand that part. Knowing that was a condition for me being low income. So you're saying that you don't want to be with a low income man, then why were you dating a low income man for 3 years? I don't understand. If he's not what you're looking for, then why were you dating him? To get back engaged with me, I told him to seek God and therapy and pay off debt. He said, cool, I'll do that. If he was never what you wanted to marry, why even get in a relationship with him in the first place? I just don't understand that part. Day of breakup, he didn't want to do therapy because he's focused on getting his bag and he wouldn't be able to handle me in med school. Okay, fair enough. You're asking him to do multiple things. You're basically asking him to be a different person in order to marry you. You should have just gotten to a relationship with a different person. I'm not saying this to make it seem like it's all your fault. But like, if you're able to mention all these things about him that don't fit what you need and require, then why did you even waste either of your time building a relationship with a man who wasn't what you needed and required? Because now you're telling him all the things that he has to change in order to be with you, when you should have just been seeking out who you actually wanted to be with in the first place. Anyways, let's go on. Haven't had a single month of no contact since the breakup in January. He comes and goes every 2 weeks. However, he has been trying to seek God. So now you've been downgraded, basically. So he comes and goes every 2 weeks now. You've been downgraded. You're not a girlfriend anymore. You've been downgraded. Has lots of bad friends, but he lives in a different state. Okay. I want him back. What do you want back? What do you want back? I'm confused now. What do you want? But not him being douchey. Okay. What do you want? When he speaks to me, I can sense his anger towards me still. Yeah, because you're trying to change him into someone that he has no intention of being. And he is acting douchey when before the 3 years he was sweet, probably because you weren't trying to change him. Now he's hot and cold. Despite being broken up, he still pays my phone bill. It's under his name, and deposits money into my savings. That's actually, so despite the fact that this guy's in crazy debt, he's not even allowing that to not be an excuse, that he won't try and take care of you. It sounds like not the worst men on earth, okay? I'm just saying. So I know he still cares for me, but he is trying to buy a home, and he's not rich, so every dollar counts. I want my old boyfriend back, not this douche. Okay, baby girl, I have to be honest with you. If this man is in so many ways not the man that you're looking for, then it's kind of on you to be honest with yourself and him that he's not the man you're looking for. It's the same reason why I always tell all of you to be extremely hyper intentional about any person you invest your time and energy into. Why? Because you're wasting your time investing your time and energy into someone that doesn't fit the criteria of what you're looking for. So before you ever start dating anyone, you should be writing down in your notebook, on your iPad, on your laptop exactly what it is you're looking for, exactly what type of relationship you want to have, exactly what type of character traits is the man that you have has, what type of job, all the qualities that you want in a man and a relationship. You need to have those clear as day for you, so that when you go out and you're meeting people and you're dating them, you can easily identify, are you what I'm looking for, or are you not what I'm looking for? See, what your issue was, baby girl, is, I feel so weird calling you baby girl, but your issue was that rather than thinking first about what do I need and what am I looking for, and then identifying, is he that? If he's not, then I don't waste my time and energy on him. You just allowed this relationship to happen. I'm not sure what you were thinking at the time, but you allowed the relationship to happen. You continued investing your time into him, only to realize, I guess, down the road that, yeah, actually, I'm realizing that you're not what I want. And actually, you need to make this change and this change and that change and this change. And actually, I want you to change your whole personality. Actually, if you could not be you, be someone completely different, that's what will work for me. And that's the only type of man I will marry. So then what he's probably really frustrated at is he's probably thinking to himself, well, damn, I got to change everything. I got to go to church. I got to get my finances together. I got to get a new job. I got to build a career. I got to change my personality. It's he's got to change like 10 things at once. He might as well not be him. And I'm not saying that I understand that you're coming from a place where you want him to be at his best for you and the relationship, but you also have to understand to a certain extent, like you can't be trying so hard to get someone to be something different, especially when that's just not who they are. So if this guy is who he's always been, and you're just upset at who he's always been, and you want him to be someone different in order to marry you, well, then you should have actually considered who he actually is when you are considering this entire relationship. Because what sense does it make to be in a relationship with someone where you're saying to yourself, if we date for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, and he proposes to me, I'm going to say no because he has this and this and this and this and this that he needs to change before I would even get married to him. Then what's the point of being in a relationship with him? Why not be single or date someone who, when he does propose, you would say yes because he's the man that you're looking for? It's a very contradicting mindset and way to go about your life, and you'll find yourself in these confusing situations where, in all honesty, you've basically wasted 4 years of your life. Because I can guarantee you, I can assure you, I'm assuming you guys are over the age of 25. Let's just make the assumption. He is who he is. The changes that he's going to make are honestly not going, like 1 out of 10 people are going to make a drastic change from the age of 25 upwards. Okay? If he's not already on the path of like doing something different or like being a completely different person, I guarantee you he won't be that much different from this and 5 years from now. Okay? And so I say that to say what you're expecting, the 180 you're expecting him to do in the next, it seems like you're expecting him to do it in less than a year. The 180 that you're expecting him to do in less than a year is unfair even to him. Because even one of the tasks that you're asking of him is already monumental, right? Getting out, if he's in like crazy debt, getting out of debt in itself, if he's in like crazy student loan debt or he just got like tens of thousands of dollars of debt, that's already a task that requires 5 to, for some people, even up to 10 years. That's already a full-time job in itself of fixing. Now you're also talking about he needs to go find God and go to church. That, like, you just want a different man. That's fine though. Go find a different man. Don't try to change this man into something he's not. It doesn't make any sense. You're frustrated and he's frustrated. Nobody's happy. Okay. So that was the show for today. If I didn't answer your question, don't fret. I will answer your question on another live show in the future. We have these every single weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, Monday to Friday. So I'll answer your question then. If you want to send in your question because you didn't get a chance to send in your question, you can enter on TikTok. You can go over to the link in my bio and ask your question in the relationship advice section. And please, 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 please make sure to keep it underneath the character count so that we can get straight to the point and you can be as clear and concise as possible. And make sure you spell check your questions and read it over before you send it to me. Send it as if you're doing a college essay. Don't send me your willy-nilly message like you're texting it to a buddy and putting the letter U instead of U and misspelling a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to skip your question if you do that. Send it like you're sending an essay. Send it like you're a professional if you want me to answer your question, because the audience needs to be able to read it and I need to be able to read it clear and concisely as well. Okay. If you're serious about getting your question answered, send it to me seriously. Don't send it to me half-ass. Okay. So that is that. If you want to follow me on Instagram because you love me so much and you want to get more of me all the time, and you want to see what I'm doing on a 24-hour basis, you can go over to my Instagram. It's right above my head on the left side of your screen there. If you're on TikTok, it's right above on the top right. And if you're on YouTube, it's right at the bottom right there, where you can follow me on Instagram and see everything that I'm doing all day, 24 hours. You can scroll down, see the skits I used to post and all that good stuff for those of you who are just obsessed with everything that I do, okay? For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to get access to the show because you're like, I missed the part, I love the show, I want to see more of the show, where can I find more of it? Go over to my YouTube page, which is right on the top right of my head there, and you just type in my name on YouTube, or you go just can copy and paste it if you screenshot it, and once you get into my YouTube page, you can go find my live section, right? And then when you find the live section, you'll be able to watch this live stream and all the previous live shows as well, with the TikTok and YouTube live chat embedded, where you can see all the conversation, including the one that you've been having today, right, on TikTok. You can see your conversation and the conversation of the YouTube chat embedded in the video. So it's awesome. You'll never miss a beat of conversation there. Okay, so like I said, I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So you need to figure out what time that is in your time zone so you can make sure to join me on time. Okay, I've been on time lately. Okay, you guys should be congratulating me for that. Okay, I've been pretty on time. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow right on time at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, goodbye, hasta la vista, arrivederci, au revoir. And until we meet again tomorrow, I love you so much, and I will see you